All right, so welcome and let's get started. So we're going to start lying down in Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees out to the side, just lying flat on the floor, not on the block. Though if you feel a strong inclination to put the block under the shoulders as well, you can go ahead and do that. All right. So making your way down to the floor. And like whatever little squinging and shifting you want to do there, getting those hip joints loosened up a little bit. There's also another option here, which you know I haven't mentioned in a while, is if you happen to have two blocks and the knees are kind of high, you can always put a block under the knees or thighs there for a little support if you want. And you can also sort of put your hands there. Sometimes even when those hands there don't give you a lot of support, it can still like be kind of a reassurance that eases things out a little bit more than you might expect. All right, so here we are. Inhaling into the lower belly, exhale, pouring out through the inner thighs, through the knees. And up through the top of the head. And the sitting bones will reach toward the heels. And then the weight of the body being supported by the floor. Inhaling and exhaling. And maybe taking a stretch out and overhead with the arms. You can just hold them somewhere overhead or take a few breathings up and down like giant wings with your arms. And we will take a few more breaths here. And then sliding the legs out to straight. Stretching those arms up overhead. And then we'll come up to sitting into a forward bend. So maybe just rolling straight up the center line or coming round to the side as needed. And into the straight leg forward bend. Just gently easing yourself over. Inhale and exhale, breathing into the back of the body. And calming up. And let's go to Sukhasana, the crossed legs. And giving a little lift up with the arms, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip socket. And slowly releasing with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees. Inhale and exhale. Really being present with what's ever going on inside your body at this moment. Don't have to like it. Ah. And then reaching wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up and breathing them down. And then we'll breathe the arms up and twist to the right. Inhale, lift, exhale, arms floating down, left hand to the right knee, right hand to the floor. Bringing the arms back up overhead, and we'll twist to the left. Inhale and exhale, arms floating down. Every breath is subtle action. Lifting back up to the center, and then we'll reach wide and down the sides to change the cross of the legs. And then we'll do that jellyfish twisting some more, but on a single breath, moving, inhaling and exhaling. As we inhale and exhale, arms up. Inhale and exhale, twist right. Inhale and exhale, arms up. Inhale and exhale, twist left. And we'll keep going with that. So if you would really like to take an extra breath lingering in that twist, you can go ahead and do that. We'll do about, I guess, 2.5 more sets based on where I am. And then when we're finished, we're going to be coming forward. So you can come forward whenever you're ready, or you can keep going with the twist a little longer. And making sure you finish right and left for yourself. And then we'll all meet up in this forward bend, breathing into the back of the body. And then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And we will come around onto all fours. Just doing a few cat and cows there. We'll push and pull with the hands and knees, adding a little intensity. And then we will finish with that, finding the neutral spine flat against the ceiling. We'll extend our left leg back and tucking with the toes tucked under, pressing back into that left heel, long from the top of the head out the left heel. And picking that right thigh up. Hover plank, stretching the left leg longer. And those who are feeling maybe a little beyond gentle vinyasa, you could swoop that right leg up to the three-legged dog for a moment. And then we'll all set our right leg down wherever it is, coming back onto all fours. Deep breath. And we'll extend the right leg back with those toes tucked under, pressing into the heel. Lifting the left thigh up. And those who want to do a little more, reaching up into the three-legged dog. And then we'll all set our left leg down, coming back into child's pose. And then coming up to downward facing dog. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment, nothing moving but the breath. And let's come forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling. And we'll Asta Namaskar, knees, chest, chin into the small cobra, or any other way you want to get there. And sliding out, really squeeze the elbows in, pull the hands back. And then pulling back to come down. So you're doing the Sphinx there, Judith. Is that what you want to do? That? And then 3 more small cobras. Inhale and exhale, lifting up. Inhale and exhale, lengthening down. And then healing ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. Dog at the high fire height. Opening up that right hip, reaching thigh to thigh. Through to the lunge. And let's come up into warrior number 2 already. And maybe using that right hand on the inside of the right knee, encouraging that knee to press back as that left shoulder presses away. Make sure the foot didn't overturn there. Reaching wide and flat, breathing yourself more deeply into the pose. And dancing warrior, bringing that right arm up and anchoring the right sitting bone down. And windmilling down to the floor, turning back to our low lunge, and we'll bring the left knee down, coming up in Anjayasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And Namaste in front, and stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Pouring over. Deep breath or 2 or 3 here, extending up through the legs, pouring down through the top of the head. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down, long through the top of the head. And let's breathe the arms up and interlocking the fingers overhead, turning the palms up, pressing up, grounding down. So try not to be doing this little arch in your back like I'm doing here. Pull the belly and the ribs in and back and lengthen up, trying to be very flat and straight. And we'll take that arch. Oh, what a relief. And releasing the hands, diving over. Concave back, folding over, jumping or stepping back, vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And I'm going to do, as so often, the kneeling vinyasa from kneeling plank, if you're coming along with me. And there we all are, downward facing dog. Let's lift the left leg up. And dog at the high fire height. And through to the lunge. Warrior number 2. We're using that left hand on the inside of the left knee to really encourage that to open. Right shoulder presses a little back against that. And then reaching wide and flat. Breathing here. Every breath renewing the presence, deepening the pose a little. Letting go of more things that you don't need. And dancing warrior, anchoring that left sitting bone down. And windmilling down to the floor. And turning to the lunge and bringing the right knee down, and Jayasana. Breathing in that big circle of breath. And Namaste in front. And then stepping forward into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste in front. And then let's do the tree pose. We'll bring the right leg up first. You want to take a shift to go stand somewhere on a wall, go ahead. Especially for this first tree pose, so you can really get steady. So we're bringing our right leg up, standing on the left, reaching down into the floor. And then like when we were lying on the floor long ago, nice and level across the back of the pelvis. And breathing. Bringing that right leg down, and we'll do the left. Some speedy steadiness, then bringing that left leg up. Nice wide and flat across the back of the pelvis. Going through your body and also through your mind there where you are. Balancing has a lot to do with our focus, our steady gaze, our even breath. And then we'll bring that left leg down. And here we are at the front of our mat. And let's bring the arms up and do those interlocked fingers again, giving the elbows a pull, trying to be very flat as we extend the arms up. Pulling the ribs and belly a little down and back, even as we lengthen up. And then letting that arch come in, front body yawning and releasing the hands, diving over. Concave back, folding over. Vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant, drawing 3 circles with that right knee or not. Forward, side, up and over. Lots of work from that left standing leg. And then when we've done 3, coming through to the lunge, and we'll come up in the warrior number 1, or it could be the high lunge warrior. 1 will be the default for today. And then we'll take our arms around in that circle of breath. And another halfway around to interlock the fingers. And as those arms pull down and back, keep the lunge reaching forward, keep the right sitting bone going down. And releasing the arms back up overhead. Namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. To the plank. Vinyasa or not. Remember any version. And downward facing dog. Really pressing back through the legs. And then we'll walk the hands back to the feet. Forward bend at the back of your mat. Inhale and exhale. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste. And let's do our tree pose again. We'll just do the right leg and we're going to add the interlocked fingers overhead. So maybe you're just standing here at the back of the mat. Maybe you're near something to get a little support. So sometimes, as you know, the hard part is the getting to the tree pose. And from there, finding the balance is not as challenging if you started with a little support. And then interlocking the fingers and really try not to arch into the back. Long and flat. Interlocked fingers overhead. Lift a little more to bring that right foot down. And release the hands. Here we are at the back of the mat. And then we'll take a big front body yawn up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Walking out to downward facing dog, a vinyasa or not. So I'll do the or not this time for those who want encouragement to do the or not. And then let's lift our left leg up. Reaching long through both heels and bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And then drawing a big circle with that left knee. Forward, side, using that right leg and that right outer hip to pull the left leg back around. Twice more. And then through to the lunge. Warrior number 1. Or the high lunge. And circling the arms all the way around and back up overhead. And then another half circle around to interlock the fingers. So as you reach down and back, tends to straighten up that left leg a little, pulling through the left inner thigh, resisting that. Releasing the arms back up overhead. Namaste in front. And into the floor. Through the Vinyasa or not. And then downward facing dog. And we'll walk the hands back to the feet. Inhale and exhale in the forward bend. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste. And then we'll tree pose on the left with the interlocked fingers overhead. And bringing the left leg up. Steadying your mind, steadying your breath. And then interlocking the fingers. Just a little more effort through the core so you don't let that lower back arch and the upper chest lift too much. Lift a little more to bring that left foot down. And releasing the arms. Here we are standing at the back of the mat. And a big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Bending the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Reach a little more back, reach up with the upper body. And then coming all the way down to the floor. Sitting all the way down to the floor and out to Konasana, the angle pose. Or sitting different direction on your mat as needed there. And taking a lift up with the arms behind, reaching through the inner thighs out the heels. And coming forward. Inhaling into the center of the body, exhale, radiating out. So sometimes we take our time coming over to let the body relax a little, agree to cooperate and stretch out. But we can also come over slowly if you know you're flexible and your forehead can just hit the floor easily. Coming over slowly to deepen your awareness into the body. Finding that one little piece there that maybe you sort of skip over on your way down if you go too quickly. And then coming up, back up on top of the sitting bones, bringing the legs halfway in. And we'll do the wide open V sit. So reaching inside the legs, you can hold the ankles, outer edge of the feet, the big toes, maybe the hands on the outside under the thighs. So hands on the outside under the thighs requires less flexibility because maybe the legs don't straighten, but it's also a lot more strength because you have to hold that lower leg and extend it on its own. Whereas if you have the hands out at the ankles or the feet, you've got more support for the whole leg there. All right, so here we are somewhere. Inhaling into the center, exhale, pouring out. And then we'll fold those legs in and making our way back into the forward bend, coming up onto the feet. And slowly expanding up. Doesn't really matter where you are on your mat, because we're just going to walk ourselves out to downward facing dogs, whatever combination of forward and back is needed. And then here we are, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale, arriving here in this moment, in this downward facing dog. And then through a Vinyasa. And we're back in downward facing dog. Let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Through to the lunge. And warrior number 2 again. Inhale and exhale, inner thigh to the inner knee over the center of the dancing warrior. And into the triangle, Trikonasana, rotating that right thigh bone around and into the hip joint. Inhale and exhale, good, nice and long and flat. Every breath and action through the body. And we'll come up to standing, reaching back with the left arm, turning the feet to parallel. Breathe. reaching wide to the side, big front body yawn up, and then coming forward and over. Long reach out and forward and over. And then we'll walk the feet into the center, a little heel toeing in. Now we're in the horizontal center of our mat. And coming up to standing, big front body. And around to Namaste. And then we're going to do our tree pose again. And this time, for our arms, we're going to try to do the interlocked fingers behind with the tree pose. All right. Right leg is coming up. So in theory, we're there at the horizontal center of our mat. So getting yourself settled in the balance, maybe with the Namaste hands to start. And then reaching out, arms around and behind, interlocking the fingers. So here too, we've got to put in maybe just a little more effort not to arch the back. And then lift a little more to bring the right leg down. Here we are in the horizontal center of our mat with our interlocked fingers behind, lifting the chest to lift the chin. And coming forward, pressing out through the hands, counterbalancing. And release those hands. A little bend in the knees to heel toe the feet back out to the wide leg forward bend. And then we will rotate that right leg out 90 degrees and coming into a Parsva Konasana from underneath the side angle, maybe the arm up on the elbow. And then up to Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. Or you could go back to the triangle. Or stay in that Parsva Konasana. Lots of options there. And then up here in Ardha Chandrasana, strong center, everything extending out, especially that right leg down into the and especially that left leg back to the wall. Good. And that's where we're going. Just turning to the front and bringing the left leg next to the right or stepping forward. A nice bent knee, easeful hang like standing child's pose. And then as you're ready, jumping or stepping back through the Vinyasa, downward facing dog. I'm just getting up to go over to the other side. And then we'll all be in downward facing dog. Taking a couple deep breaths there, possibly a couple deep breaths there in child's pose instead. And then around on the left, lifting the left leg up. Good, pulling those elbows toward each other, through to the lunge, and coming up in the warrior number 2 on the left. Pressing back with that left outer thigh and knee, breathing here. Dancing warrior, side bend away. And into the triangle, Trikonasana, tilting over. Making lots of space. And then coming up, reaching back with that right arm, feet to parallel. Reaching wide to the side, bringing the arms up, reaching long and up, and reaching out and over. Taking up lots of space vertically and horizontally into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide apart feet pose. And then a little bend in the knees to walk the feet into the center, horizontal center of the mat. And then coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste. Inhale and exhale, Samasthiti, steadiness. All right, and then tree pose, left leg coming up with the interlocked fingers behind. Finding your balance in your center. And then once you have those interlocked fingers, trying to do it without hyperextending the upper chest and arching the back. A little extra press forward with the tailbone, a little more draw in and up with the abdominal muscles. Lift a little more to bring that left foot down. And here we are in the horizontal center of our mat with our interlocked fingers. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin, coming forward and over. And releasing the hands. And then heel toeing, or however, walking the feet back out to the wide leg forward bend. And then we'll rotate the left foot out 90 degrees and bringing the right arm in left arm inside, coming to a Parsvakonasana side angle pose, or maybe with that left elbow on knee. Make sure those left toes are forward. And then Ardha Chandrasana, or whatever option you did on the first side. Breathing. So many things that breath can do for us. And then we'll bring that right leg down next to the left or stepping forward. And we're in a nice easeful forward bend, relaxing the head and neck. And then we'll bend the knees a lot to sit down on the floor and sliding the legs straight out in front in Dandasana. And let's Mrityasana number 3. So we'll bend our right leg. And then you want to bend it in close, but still have a long extended spine. So finding that point for yourself. Standing on your left foot, let's twist to the right. Inhale and exhale. Getting that belly sliding out from that right inner thigh. And back to the front. And let's switch sides. Bending the left leg. Bringing it as close as you can without crushing yourself and rolling back too much. Standing on both feet, long through the top of the head, twisting left. Inhale and exhale. Make room for that belly to twist around by that left inner thigh. And coming back to the front, extending that left leg out, coming down to the floor. And we're attempting just to be in Shavasana, you could, or else we'll do a bridge pose. Bending the knees, so you could also grab a block and do supported bridge pose. And so lifting the pelvis up off the floor. Whichever bridge pose we're in, we're breathing through the front of the hip joint there, either down and out the knees in the bridge pose or down and out the feet in the supported bridge pose. Even in the bridge pose, we're breathing through the knees and then taking that little turn into the feet. And then rolling down and or taking the block out. And whatever else you want to do before going into Shavasana. And then as you're ready, sliding those legs out to straight. Inhaling and exhaling. Backs of the hands on the floor. Pouring out the right and left sides into the floor. Inhale and exhale, letting go. And then breathing back into your body, into the room. Moving the fingers and toes, getting the circulation going. Stretching your arms up overhead. And bending the knees. Gently make your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with that long and spacious. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.